Shocker. Shocker. Shocker that Haason now wants out, and he's seeking permission to seek a trade according to Ian Rappaport. All right, breaking news. This is what just happened earlier today. It actually happened at about, I want to say like an hour ago. It was reported by Ian Rappaport. And I want to get your thoughts about it. I know that it's a little bit bizarre that, of course, it's happening on the day of the Super Bowl, and everybody is talking about tonight's game, of course, but hey, man, there's definitely a lot to discuss here for sure. But before we dive into things, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on those notification bell icons, and that way you'll know when I go live for any Eagles news, Sixers news, Phillies news. We also do play-by-plays for all of those teams on here as well. Haason Reddick, man, how do I feel about it? How do I feel about Haason Reddick? So, well, first of all, before we actually give our thoughts on everything, I want you guys to see this for yourself. So here we go. All right, so let's Control Plus. So there we go. So this is the report that was out by Ian Rappaport. He said sources, Eagles All-Pro edge rusher Haason Reddick has received permission to seek a trade following another disruptive season featuring double-digit sacks. He's 29 years old with 27 sacks over 2 seasons in Philly and could land elsewhere. There was another thing that was posted down below that I wanted to also, this one right here by Thomas R. Peterson. And Thomas is... he works for Bleacher Report and NFL Network and the New York Post and the Philly Voice. But he said that, quote, Haason Reddick is definitely worth a much bigger contract than he's currently paid at. Eagles likely can't match the market value, so giving him the chance to seek his value is very respectful, although a bit of a tough situation for fans. And I think that tweet right there sums everything up. I really do. I think that sums up how people really feel, because Haason has been an incredible player for the Eagles organization, and at this point, I don't blame him for exploring his market value, because he wants to get a big contract. He's looking at Nick Bosa's contract, the 5-year, $170 million contract that he had, and he made comments about it when that happened, and he wants to do that for himself, of course, because that set the new market value for people in the linebackers and defensive line. So, I mean, I can totally understand that, and I think that is a very valid thing for him to do. It just sucks because as Eagles fans, we our best person on the defensive line or on the defense, as a linebacker, has probably been Haason Reddick. We have to give him a lot of credit because he's been somebody that has always gotten to the quarterback. He's been very quick. He's been a guy that I remember that the day that that they said that he was coming over here, we were all so excited. We all thought that we were going to get like a really great player that could change the franchise, and we thought that it was such a great deal. And I was really happy with him here. I know that he meant so much to us during that Super Bowl run last year, and he was one of the reasons why the Eagles were so successful on defense, because he got so many sacks and they were finding ways just to get to the quarterback, and that was a big plus. But this really does sting. But also, I think about it from another perspective where we have a new defensive coordinator as Vic Fangio, and I don't know necessarily, and maybe I'm speculating here, but I don't know if what his scheme, I don't know if he fits that scheme. I don't know. Maybe he does, but I feel like Vic is a guy that does a lot of, he doesn't do a lot of blitzing, he does a lot of cover twos and gets more guys involved in the secondary, and it's more about just getting turnovers with the cornerbacks and with the safeties and that type of thing. But I feel like it's a very bizarre situation, and for his sake, I can understand why he wants to explore the market. He's in, the final year of his $45 million deal for it's a 3-year, $45 million deal. So I don't blame him for trying to put pressure on the Eagles organization because he has to do what he has to do for himself. He does. So it makes a lot of sense, but it does sting. It definitely does sting a little bit in regards to just looking at him from an Eagles fan base perspective, and I really don't know where they go from here. But yeah, that's really how I feel about the whole situation. It's shocking to me how they decided to leak this news on Super Bowl day. I find that to be a little bit weird. But I don't know. I think it's a really weird situation for sure. And do you think he wants out, or they want to move him but give him the option to choose where he wants to go? He wants to explore his market value. I think that is first and foremost. He wants to figure out a way where he can try to get more money and sign with a long term type of a deal. And I don't know where specifically that would be to, but I think that he wants to do it just for himself so that he can have a big payday. I think that that's what it really comes down to, and I can't necessarily blame him for that because at this point, the Eagles are who they are, and they're not really going anywhere, it seems like, in regards to just the way that their organization is ran right now. So Haason doesn't want to feel like he's stuck, and he kind of wants to, I guess, do the Eagles a little favor because if they're not going to pay him, well, guess what? The Eagles are going to lose out. So the ball's in their court. You understand? So they have to make a move, and Haason is like, he's going to Howie, he's going to the front office, and he's like, hey, all right, I'm going to give you guys a chance to try to trade me just to figure out and see where my market is at. And if there's a team out there that would be willing to take on a longer-term contract for me because I got to do what's best for me, but I know that you guys don't want me to walk in free agency, so let me try to see if there's a way where I can figure out where my market value is at. But also, if you guys do decide to trade me, you guys can try to get some sort of a package. You understand? And again, the package obviously is not going to replace Haason Reddick himself. I don't know who they could get for him. I don't know what teams will be willing to give up who for Haason Reddick, but I'm just saying that it's kind of nice that he's given them, I guess, a little bit of a fair warning, if that makes sense. You know, he played it better than the rest on the defense this year, but that's not saying much. Again, it's a tough situation. You know, number 7 really meant a lot to this organization, and he was one of those guys where he did get some like really, really big stops. And I remember when the Eagles were 10-1, there were a couple of times where they needed to get a stop on defense, and Haason was one of those guys that actually was able to put pressure on the quarterbacks, and he was able to break through the trenches and just and make an impact on the game. You know, there was one game I remember, it was against Dallas, where he had a really big stop, and it was against Dak Prescott. And I think it was at the very very end of the game. He actually sacked him maybe 2 times in that last drive, and that right there was like the biggest difference in that game. And if he doesn't get those sacks, well, Dallas probably wins that game. Also, if Dak didn't run out of bounds during the 2-point conversion and didn't watch his footing, that was another thing about that too. But the point is that the Eagles are in a tough spot now, and I don't really feel bad for them. As weird as that sounds, like it sucks for us as fans, but they're in this position because I don't think that A, they want to pay Haason Reddick, B, their defense really just went to their defense wet the bed last year, and they're just in a position where I can't really see themselves, winning anything anytime soon in regards to just where this coaching staff is. I'm just being brutally honest. I'm not like trying to be a negative person, a pessimist, or anything like that. I'm just trying to be realistic. So when you look at all three of those types of things, it makes sense that Haason wants out. Potentially, he doesn't want out. He wants to explore his trade value. That's all he wants to do. There's a difference. So we can't be mixing up those words. But what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? Snowman says, not shocking, especially after a subpar second half of the year. And that's the other thing. That is absolutely the other thing about this is that the Eagles really just did not have a good second half at all whatsoever. So, again, if their defense really just did a really bad job and it looks like that they're not, that they want to bring this whole thing back with the coaching staff and all that stuff. I mean, they did get new coaches that are, on the offensive and the defensive line, but I'm saying that Nick Sirianni's back, so I don't know, man. I really don't know, but it is a tough situation. Denver says, I think he was misused in the second half, being put into coverage. That's the other thing about it, too. He's the type of guy where if he's not being put into coverage, then he's not really going to succeed. He's not as quick, A, as he once was, and B, you really have to try to put him into the right positions, and you want him to blitz. That's all you really need him for. He's so great at causing blitzes, and again, with Vic Fangio's scheme, I don't think that necessarily fits, and that's fine. That's totally okay, but why hold on to him if that's going to be the case? That's another point that I wanted to bring up. But yeah, if you guys want to come onto Discord, feel free to give your thoughts. It doesn't shock me. I don't think it really shocks anybody at this point. Does it sting? Yeah, kinda. But this is the downfall of the Eagles. I think that this is just how it is. So, but if you want to come on and give your thoughts, you're more than welcome to do so. Let's look at some more tweets. Jake Rabati says, would be heartbreaking as a fan if Haason Reddick and his elite celebration goes somewhere else. Yeah, the finger wag. I like that one. That was a good one. What else do we have? If Haason Reddick is... Haason Reddick has asked for permission to seek a trade. Yeah. There was one other thing, though, I wanted to find, and I can't necessarily find it. Here it is. Okay, so this is what I wanted to play for you guys. This is, of course, according to Ian Rappaport, and I wanted to just play this for you guys so that way you could hear for yourselves what they had to say live on NFL Game Day. All right, so we're going to turn this up, and we're going to have you guys hear this for yourselves. And again, if you want to come on here, if you want to give your thoughts about this, please feel free to do so.
Rich, that's the product of when your wife rolls into the hotel room at midnight and says, my phone just got stolen, wake up, and you lose out on a little bit of sleep before an 8.5-hour pregame edition of Game Day morning. All right, let's talk about something that doesn't have to do with me looking ridiculous on live TV. The Broncos are keeping all options on the table regarding Russell. Becomes fully guaranteed.
Fast forward that. There it is. Okay. No, that's Jalen Hurts. What the heck is it? Ugh, sorry about that. Hey, at least we aren't the Broncos. They're screwed right now. That's a good point. It's true. That is really true. That is so true. The Broncos, I don't know where they go, bro. Broncos are really in shambles. All right, well, of course this is loading. But I kind of wanted to hear. Let's go to media. Let's see what they have to say over there. That is not what I wanted. Haason Reddick. Well, where is it? We'll try to do it again. We'll try to find it again. There it is. Okay.
When your wife rolls into the Russell Wilson played another
A few words, and he's stoic. They want him to. They've already been having these conversations, and they wanted him, and the people around him did as well, to show his personality when he was down at the pro. And who was cheering louder than anybody? Jason Kelsey. So no
shirt on though.
Shirt on. No decision on retirement just yet. I'm expecting that in the next couple weeks, but he did hit the 4-4 for the hard 8.
You're such an idiot. Speaking of the Eagles, a little more Eagles news. Sources say their star pass rusher, Haason Reddick, has received permission to seek a trade. The Eagles, of course, acquired him in free agency, double-digit sacks. Both of the last 2 years, a Pro Bowler, been one of the best players off the edge, wants to get paid again. Do not be surprised if he gets paid elsewhere, a potential big-time addition somewhere in the NFL. Meanwhile, sticking with the quarterbacks, the Pittsburgh Steelers also have an open quarterback.
All right, that was it. That was literally it. They didn't talk about nothing. Okay. I thought that they were going to give more information about it. That's it. I thought I was going to get some analysis. I really did, but all right, whatever. It is what it is. It stinks. It just flat out sucks. Just reflecting on the whole entire season, it makes you think about where this team is right now, what could have been. I don't know who they can get. I don't know what trade package they could explore. But it's still kind of shocking to me, in a sense, even though I said it's not really a shocker. When you really deeply think about it, it kind of is, because he was like the last person or one of the last people that I thought would actually want to request a trade or explore the trading market. But it makes sense. Like I can't be mad at Haason Reddick. I can't be mad at him. He has to do what's best for himself. He has to do what's best for him, and he deserves all the money that he can. How many times, guys, were we like during the Sixers offseason? Joel Embiid should request to be traded. Joel Embiid should want out. A lot of us said that because it's true. This franchise did not do a good job at surrounding him with the right pieces. Every year, that's one of the reasons why he got hurt, and he should have looked somewhere else. We would not have been mad. We would have been sad as Sixers fans, but if you were in Joel Embiid's shoes, we all said that I don't blame him. I don't blame him for looking into other directions and looking at other teams, and it's the same thing here. It's the same exact thing. Same analogy. But anyhow, all right, that's going to wrap things up right here. I just wanted to come on and just give you a little short analysis, or just give you my initial thoughts on the whole thing, because it was released about an hour ago, and not a lot of people were talking about it. It's kind of getting swept underneath the carpet, if you will, because today is Super Bowl, of course. And, yeah, so there you have it. Those are my thoughts. Speaking of the Sixers, should I be excited for Lowry? Yeah, sure. I think that Lowry could be a really good fit for the Sixers. I gave you all my thoughts about that last night, too, so if you want to go check that out, please feel free to do so. I love you all. All right, I'm going to wrap things up right here, and I'll catch you all tomorrow night. We'll be back on for the Sixers game. See you then. Good night.